So blowing this up so we can actually see it, this is what Excel tells us and what we need to know or don't need to know. So here we do need to know about the mean. Standard error, you don't need to worry about. Median, mode, standard deviation, don't worry about variance, kurtosis or skewness, and you do need to know the other ones. So you need to make sure that you understand where each of these values comes from. And this one here is actually really helpful, this count one, because that's how you can make sure you've got all your data there. So if you know you've got 60 observations and it comes up with 59, you know that you've made a mistake. So it's always good to check things like that. Okay. This isn't going to take as long as I thought. Okay, so the idea of central tendency. And I've been looking at how stats is often explained this way, and they do a whole lot of mathematical stuff which I think is actually unnecessary. If you had to describe a set of data by one number, what would you use? And that is what the mean is about. So if we go back to that original data we had for the classes, this stuff here, if we've got a set of data that's shown like that in the distribution, or it's 60 values, how are you going to describe that? And more to the point is, how are you going to compare it with other things? How do you compare that with that? So really, the mean has no meaning other than as a comparison. And so what you could use is the mean, the median, or the mode. But mean is what we usually use, and you've probably called it an average most of your life. The word average can actually mean median as well. So we tend in statistics to use mean, median, and mode as the words to describe exactly what it is we're referring to. But in Excel, they actually use average. So here's our formula for our mean, and now that you know how to use sigma signs, you'll see that it's simply that you add all of the things up and then divide by however many things there are. So very straightforward. And that's one of the reasons that the mean was the most popular kind of average that was used for many, many years, because it's much easier to do on a calculator or on a computer than the median. The median is actually quite hard for a computer to do because you have to put all of your numbers in order and find the middle one. And it's harder for a computer to do than to add them all up and divide by the number of things. So that's why the mean has been more popular. Okay, for example, a person's weight over the last 4 weeks, weighed every Tuesday, it's been 70.1, 71.3, 69.2, 69.4. So what was their mean weight over the last 4 weeks? You add them all up, divide by 4, and it gives you 70.1. Or if you want to do that in Excel, you would simply put the average formula down there. And in fact, if you click on the right-hand side of the little sigma button, maybe I'll just leave this on PC. Okay, up here, say we've got, I'll just go to my other one. Maybe not. So we've got some numbers here. Okay, I want to find the average of those. I can just highlight them, and then instead of clicking that sigma, we just click the little down arrow, and you can choose average. And it just puts in the formula for the average underneath. So this little sigma button, you can also get it to do count, maximum, min, sum, and some other things. Okay, so what does it mean? It gives us some idea of the location of the values in a data set. It's more useful for comparing with other values than used in isolation. So if again we come back to that first set of data in page 5, which I've just lost now. The mean for the first one here, the mean for this was 118.55, or 118,000, and this one here was 74,000. So just looking at the data, it's hard to tell there's that much difference, but by having those mean values, it's a way of comparing the two. And that's what's done all the time. The mean on its own doesn't have a lot of meaning, really. So you can see from, as the data as a whole, the values were higher for the individual income than for the class average income. So generally, people thought that they would earn more than the class would on average, which is interesting. They all think, everyone thinks that they're going to earn more than everybody else. But that's not everybody, of course. There are some that did it too as well.